Welcome to Money, Manifestation, and Business, the podcast that shows you how to use your energy, intention, and consciousness to reprogram your money mindset, unleash a new level of possibility, and create a life and business that lights you up. I'm your host, Jamie Berman, and I invite you to join me each week for a dose of inspiration, coaching, and teachings to help you rewrite your money story, create abundance on your terms, and grow your business in a way that's fully aligned for you. This is going to be so much fun. Let's dive in. Hey friend, I'm so excited to dive into today's episode because it is a good one. But before I do, I wanted to tell you about something really exciting that's coming up this month, completely free, that I want to invite you into. I am hosting a money masterclass series on January 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. And I want to invite you to come to it because it's going to be an event where I'm going to teach you the things that will really move the needle forward for you around your money mindset and around manifesting more money in your business. It's going to be workshop style. I'm going to be doing so much teaching. I'm going to open the floor for questions, open the floor for coaching. It's an opportunity for you to really get some support around your money mindset so that you can make 2024 your year of abundance and you can have a breakthrough in your income this year. So all you have to do is go to the show notes to register. Like I said, it's completely free and it is going to be epic. So join me and I can't wait to see you there. All right, y'all, I have another massive treat for you today. For manifesting money, I am bringing on one of my coaching colleagues, a dear friend who has been in my coaching world for a very long time. We actually, I think, got started together. I remember we were in I know it was my first mastermind I ever did together a long time ago, right?
So true. Yes.
And so I have master certified real estate investment coach, Alyssa Holbrook, with me. And we are going to talk about all things investing in real estate. And Alyssa's going to break down exactly how you can get started, what it entails. I'm so excited for you to hear her story and her journey because it's so inspiring. And as all of you know, I talk a lot about manifesting money, but through different channels, right? We don't have to just manifest money through one channel. And actually, I haven't shared about this too much I don't think on the podcast, but one of the channels that I've manifested the most amount of money through has been real estate. And I think real estate is one of the, I don't know, this is my thought, easiest ways to manifest money, where like you do the initial work and then you just let it kind of grow. You let it be an investment and money can come in. So I'm so excited to talk about this topic and just hear all the things from Alyssa. So Alyssa, are you open to sharing a little bit more about you, what you do? And I also want to hear how you got started with this.
Yes. And Jamie, I'm so excited to hear your story as well. So right now, I'm a real estate coach who helps people invest in real estate. So you are in a certain place and you want to go to creating passive income and generational wealth. And I help you get from here to there using mindset and also teaching you all the skills that you need to know. So it's this beautiful connection, weaving it all together with all the skills that are exactly what you need to have success. If I dive into my story a little bit, I actually started investing in real estate when I was 14 years old. And I was very entrepreneurial. I used to sell little flag pins that had little seed beads on them. And I would, make those and sell them at craft fairs for $1. And I used to babysit and I just saved up dollar by dollar until I had $1,000. And that's when I found a book that taught me about the principles of investing in real estate. And I went to my dad and I said, Dad, I could invest in real estate, right? And this so true, like my vision with $1,000. And instead of saying, no, that's not possible, he said, let's look and see what's available. And we found a mobile home that was absolutely dilapidated, didn't work, none of the plumbing, none of the roof. And I think I just had such belief in myself and my ability to figure it out. And I knew that I had a work ethic and I loved making money. And I was like, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to buy it. And I borrowed $1,000 from my parents and hired some people to help me fix it up because I couldn't drive to go do it myself, and found a renter. And once that renter started paying me, of course, I paid back that loan. And then I bought a second property. And, as a side note, I originally started money because I wanted to buy something that just like a camera. I just wanted to buy something.
Yeah.
And instead, once I understood that I could buy real estate first, that then would pay for that thing that I wanted over and over again, having my money work for me, it was like such a world-changing idea to me. And I still live by that today. Like if I want to buy a computer, I'm like, or I could buy real estate first and then buy the thing that I want.
Buy like hundreds of computers.
Right. It buys you one every month from here on out. And so it's really a little bit about the order of where you put your money first. So after I bought that first mobile home, I saw the money coming in. I saw the money coming in every single month and I just saved up. I was like, well, I think I'm going to do this again. And I bought a cat-infested mobile home with broken windows. And I went and I fixed that one up myself because then I was 16 and I could drive.
Oh
and
gosh.
So I had so much fun, just like painting the walls and listening to country music and scrubbing 6-month-old milk out of the fridge. And it was a very like hands-on experience for me. Now, that's actually one of the common misconceptions that people have about getting into real estate is like, I'm going to be the one fixing the toilet or, taking care of it, when that really isn't the case. When you're buying a good deal, like something worth investing in, it's going to pay for someone else to do all of that for you. But I'll tell you what I learned as I did that process, as I was there in the mobile home park, seeing how people lived in a different way than me. I really could see the beauty in real estate because I took something that was a total eyesore, just breeding cats inside this property, to one of the nicest homes on the block. And in my experience with tenants over the years, I have literally had tenants cry to me on the phone and say, I am so grateful that you bought our property and that you are our landlord. And that seems like such a crazy thing, but like real estate, we need people who come in and make these properties better. And I have a love affair with value add, like with remodeling and making it better than it was, because we're providing homes that are affordable for people to live in.
Totally. And I mean, I can't imagine that anyone could live in either the first one that you bought that's dilapidated or a cat infested. Like you can't live in that. So my gosh, that's amazing. At like 14 and 16 to start investing in real estate. And I love that you started with $1,000. Like, that's amazing. And I think that debunks so many of the misconceptions about investing in real estate, that you have to have a ton of money to be able to do it, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, that is the most incredible story. And I also love whenever it's like, you can look back at your life and be like, this was totally my calling. I mean, how does a 14-year-old start reading a book about investing in real estate and be into it? I love it. So it's like, this is obviously like such a calling for you. And I love that you're teaching it now. It reminds me of myself because like I read a book on intuition at like 11 and I was so deep in it. And it's like so funny that that's what I'm doing now. So it's so amazing. Perfect. Yeah.
And don't you think a couple things? Number one, notice the questions that I was asking, not what don't I have, but what do I have? What skills do I have? What initiative do I have? What work ethic do I have? What money do I have? And I think a lot of the time people start getting into real estate and they're looking at what don't I have? Or like, I don't have enough knowledge. I need to read more books. I'm a mentor, but like a lot of people sign up for 8 different programs, but don't take action. And so it's really that willingness to figure it out. I think sometimes we also have found passions that come later in life.
Yeah.
So just because oftentimes people think, I wish I started at 14.
Right. Yeah.
And they go into this shame spiral. That is something I see pretty commonly, versus right now is the best place for me to buy, the best time for me to buy and to get
Yes.
started. I get to create a new passion and new skills from where I'm at today to increase my manifestation ability and the different revenues that are coming
So
in.
true. Oh, 100%. Yes. I love that you brought that forward. I know I was actually reading a study, which I think this is really helpful for people who, think that you just have to do one thing all the time and put your focus into one thing and never have pivots. And I was reading this study that, like, the average adult, and this is beyond just when you're, making minimum wage, like in your, early adulthood and everything, but the average adult shifts careers, shifts passions like 8 different times. And I love that we can give ourselves permission to do that. And we can give ourselves permission to learn new things. And there's like no age that you could not learn this. Just like I said, there's no age that you could, you can learn how to make money at any age. It's not like discriminating, So
Yes.
that's so good. Yeah. So I'm curious. So, and another question that I loved that you asked, speaking of asking yourself powerful questions, is you were like, okay, I have $1,000. How can I make it work with that? That's so good. So I'm curious now, what do people need in order to start investing in real estate? Is there a certain number? What would you recommend?
Yeah. So I would recommend that you have enough to make the earnest money down payment, which is going to be, it depends on what you're buying, but it's generally about 1% of the purchase price. And then also to be able to pay for closing costs, which is 1 to 2% of the closing or of the purchase price as well. So if you had 2% of the total purchase price in cash that you were hoping to get started with, that would be the bare minimum. I will give one caveat to that, which is there are people who it's called gator lending, where they actually lend you the amount that you need for that earnest money deposit. And I just think that's crazy that people are so resourceful that we have found a solution for everything. If I had an ideal amount that you would begin with, I would say 30 to 50,000 would be a good, just like regular all-in down payment. You don't have to use creative financing. The other way that I was talking about, I would imagine you using a specific type of financing where the seller actually carries the loan for you. And that's something that works really well in today's environment because of where the interest rates are. A lot more sellers are willing to do that. So as the market changes, we get to change with it as well. So that's kind of the dollar amount that I would say is very little, like me, up to 30 to 50,000 is plenty.
That's amazing that you can, because I think a lot of people, I know myself, I would, in the past, I used to think, oh, I need all of this money and hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to really start investing in real estate, but it's not true. It's so helpful and so good. And so fun. I'm curious, what are some of the other misconceptions that you think people have about investing in real estate?
Yeah, I think one main thing is that you have to be smart or like be a numbers person. You have to be really good at math and analysis. And I just don't think that that's true. Like if the numbers can be done sort of like bar napkin math, right? It's just like on the back of a napkin, we can sit down and run the numbers. You can know within 5 minutes if this deal is something worth looking at. And what people find if they do start looking at deals in real estate, they'll often look on Zillow and once they're learning to run the numbers, they'll be like, none of these properties work. And so that's where you need to step into that creator role. And you say, I don't just look at what's there on the market. I am now the creator, the manifester of the real estate deal. And I create that. So I see upsides that other people don't see. Or, you might look at a house that has extra land on it where you could develop something on the extra piece of land, or you could remodel the house and sell it and get the land for free. Now you have a piece of land and you could pledge that as the down payment for building something, right? Like there are all these different ways that we can get really creative. And so for me, real estate is really an art form. Like I'm a very right brain, imaginative type person, and real estate fits that for me. It's not like a box and numbers and that type of thing.
Yes. And what I'm like hearing is that there's just so many options, and probably so many more options than what most people have realized or even know is
Yeah.
out there. So that's why it's great to have someone like you who understands that and can like help and support someone in finding out or learn all of the options or different options,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, having an idea of hey, I'm bringing this property, what can we do with it? And being able to brainstorm together and create together can be really useful because you just might not know what's available, but rather than going and learning it in, 18 books and, 200 hours, we can just shortcut that process and you get to start doing and seeing success and making money faster. And I just think that's so fun.
The best part of having a coach and mentor, isn't it?
Right.
It's like you get to do things a lot quicker with a lot more ease. That's so good. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, Alyssa, who would you say real estate investing is for, and who would it maybe not be for?
Yeah. So when you ask me that question, my brain immediately goes to, are we talking about active investing or passive investing? And so
Okay,
maybe I'll just explain that for a minute. If you want to
please.
become an active investor, that's where you're learning, doing, operating hands-on in terms of you are taking your money, buying your own deal, and then exiting and selling when you choose, if you choose, leveling up when you choose. It's a very active process. There's another option though. So I would use that active process for someone who has a bit of time, like even 2 hours a week to devote to that. If you are doing amazing at your job, let's say you're a doctor or you're have a six-figure salary or more, you may be making more money and not want to spend as much time diving in and becoming an expert at real estate. And so then you might just say, I'm going to invest passively. And like on Monday, I'm flying out to look at a 160 unit deal in Omaha, Nebraska. And this is where people pool their money together so they can buy a bigger deal. And that's part of passive investing. So you might figure out where you're at in that process. How much interest do you have in making this a lifelong passion versus just supplying the money and having someone else do all the rest, but still getting a great return on your money? So that's kind of the
Yeah.
first question. And then
Okay,
I have
yeah.
a second part to that answer, which is when you
Mhm.
think about it, when we are actively earning income, if you want to have recurring revenue that you don't have to sell the asset, right? If you have a stock, you have to sell the stock to get the
Right.
money.
Yep.
Versus in real estate, it continues and you get to keep the asset. And in that way, every job, every way that you make money eventually will funnel to real estate. Isn't that crazy? So in that
Yeah.
way,
So tell me more. Break that down for me. I'm curious.
yeah. So every person who makes active income, if they want to
Yeah.
create the lifestyle freedom of having money come in every single month for the next 30 years, the way to do that is real estate.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not really another avenue where you aren't part of the process, but it continues
Yeah.
forward without you.
I love that. And that's part of why I think for me, one of my thoughts is like real estate is one of the easiest ways I've made money.
Yeah. Tell me more about that. I want to hear more about how
Yeah.
you've created
Well,
money in real
and
estate.
it's actually the way that I've made money on real estate is it wasn't like I was actively trying to invest or anything like that. I just bought a house, right? And I
Yeah.
bought it in the low. Happened and like you could call it luck or you could call it being an energetic match to money or whatever you want, but like I just happened to buy in the low, and the house ended up going way up. We ended up because we bought in an area that suddenly became booming. We didn't have quite like the intention of that. Of course, we just kind of bought where we wanted. It was close to the beach,
Yeah.
and the house ended up doubling. Like it
Wow.
was
Awesome.
amazing. Within, I think it was 5 years or
Yeah.
4 years, it doubled. So when we sold it, we made a huge chunk of money. And that was actually a huge part of the savings that allowed me to really go all in on my business now, my coaching business, and be able to invest in this business. But then we also took that money and were able to invest in our new house. That house has since gone way up. And that's something I remember like at my retreat with my Soulful Six Figure Masterminders, we were talking about it. And I was like, for those of them who own homes, I was like, guys, look at Zillow, like check it out, see how much it's gone up. And so many people had never thought to even do that. And they're like,
Oh,
oh my gosh, like what? My house has gone up like $500,000 or whatever. And I'm like, guys, you have to count that, right? That's like part of
yes.
your net worth. If you were to sell it, that's like a huge asset. And that's like money that has grown without you even realizing it. And that's kind of how it started working for me.
Yes.
But then we've also done other things, like you said, where you go into, I forget exactly what it's called, but where you're basically investing with a group of people. So we've put some money into that and we just get a return on that. And then we've also, now we have a condo that's a short-term rental. And that's an amazing investment that's not only gone up, but then we get to basically not have a mortgage because we have short-term renters and we get to enjoy it as well. So I would say all in all, through all of those avenues, I've probably made more through real estate than I have in my coaching business, right? Because that's been millions of dollars.
And if you think about the amount of time that you spent, like how many hours would you say you've spent on your real estate buying and selling
Like
experience?
none. I mean, besides whenever you buy, right? Because it's like what we lived in and have lived in. So, I mean, of course, the initial buying process, that takes some time and like moving into the house, but that then you're living there and you know what I mean? It's just growing without you doing anything.
Yeah.
I mean, our short-term rental, we put more time into that. I would say a couple hours a month into that, but we have a rental manager who takes care of everything. We don't put a lot of time for the kind of return you get out of it.
Yes, you're leveraging those hours. Just a few hours creates a lot of income. And here's something that I was thinking about. It's amazing what you've done. And I was thinking about, we don't even always have to sell our house. So that's another misconception is like, you can keep the property, but either refinance if it's a good going down interest rate time, or if not, you could do what's called a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. And you can do those on investment properties as well. So I will buy an investment property, let it go up in value while I'm making money every month, then leverage it to buy my next one. And there's still plenty. I mean, there is so much room there. You don't have to max it out, but then it will buy you your next property. And now you have two going, and then you buy a third and a fourth. And I even did that in high school. That's how I ended up buying 4 properties before I left for college. Like that was how I paid for college. Right? Was I just kept growing and growing it. And then the same thing has happened. Like I went from 6 figures of net worth to over 2 million net worth in just it was about 18 months. Yeah. Where I just leveraged up and bought more properties. And so you can actually control that without selling.
That's amazing. And I feel like I'm just getting started with this. I love it. It's so fun. And a lot of people will come to me and be like, Jamie, I want passive income. So maybe I'll create a course or maybe I'll create a membership. And I'm like, okay, that's not going to be passive income. I don't think there's any like digital business that necessarily is just passive income that you don't have to put a lot of time, energy, effort, marketing into. But we do that because it's our passion, because we want to give back, because our soul has to do it. We have to go and share, right? Yeah. But like, I'm always like, I would look into other things if you want passive income, right? Real estate might be one, investing is another, but like, I don't think your business is necessarily, I mean, people talk about it, but I have yet to meet anyone who literally has, an active business where they're still the front of it and they aren't doing anything, right? Or they're doing very little. I think, so that's why I love this conversation, because there are channels where income can come through and where money can come through that doesn't take as much of your time or your energy or intention, right?
And especially when we're thinking forward focused, like my dad loves what he does. But he's like, I'm going to get tired eventually. Like at some point I will want to do less, I'll want to be the grandma to my grandkids and, be living my retired life at some point. And so especially for entrepreneurs and small business owners, that can be a really great option. And I'll say a little side note about syndications. that can be a really great way for you to offset your income with a syndication. Of course, that's based on every
Yes.
person's accountant. Every accountant can advise on your personal situation. But if you
Yep.
have a large gain, like someone I know just sold her veterinary practice, if you have a large gain in 1 year, you can offset that and pay way lower taxes investing in something that has additional tax benefits. So that's something people don't always think about. But if you can get to the point where you're
Right.
not paying taxes because there are losses, paper losses for real estate,
Yeah.
that can really help you out too.
Oh my gosh, so good. So basically, all of us entrepreneurs, we need to invest in real estate. We don't need to, but why not,
Why
right?
not? Why not?
I think
It's
that's what
so
we're getting
true.
to here. So I'm so curious, Alyssa, since we talk on this podcast so much about manifestation and mindset and coaching, I'm curious how you've brought that piece into, because I know you're a real estate investor first, you're a realtor too, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. And then you're also a master certified coach.
Yeah.
How do you bring that together? And like, I'm curious how others can bring that into the investing game and the real estate investing game.
Yes. I love that perspective. So I love to think of it as reverse engineering results
Mm,
using belief, right? So I like to look
yeah.
at the outcome that I want to create on purpose and then look at, okay, who do I need to be and how do I need to show up? And what actions do I need to take from belief in order to
Yeah.
create that? And you can really have a lot of say in planning. I'm going to invest in 2024. I want to buy a piece of property that cash flows and makes money. And here's
Yeah.
the process that I'm going to do that. And I mean, maybe it would be helpful just to kind of maybe we'll do that later, but we can take them through the process of this is what that looks like from
Yeah.
start to finish so that you sort of have an
Absolutely.
overview. But
Please. Yes.
yeah, let's go back there. But the other thing I want to say is
Okay.
really becoming the CEO of your real estate company and seeing it as
Mm,
a business. And so this
yeah.
involves a large energetic shift, especially for a lot of the women that I work with. They just haven't always been used to fully taking on that role of I'm the person who knows best for my money. Think about that. We don't always think that way. And so we'll have financial advisors and we'll just kind of do what they say, but they can become the gatekeeper for our own money. I've had several clients where that's happened rather than I own this. I understand how to invest and I know what makes a good investment. And I know how to, like you were talking about, you can force appreciation in several different ways. Your house appreciated, which is what made it double in value. Well, you can do that strategically. Like I knew in 2019, I thought, I think that people are going to want to work more remotely. And I see a lot of people moving to Florida because
Yeah.
of, sand and sea and fun. And so I
Totally.
started buying up real estate in Florida. And we actually moved there for that purpose. I bought my house and it went up in value. And we literally made more than double in only,
Yeah.
let's see, it was 2019 we bought and then we sold in 2023 and our house went from
Wow.
490 to 790. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's just
3
one
years.
gain, right? Of
Yeah.
$300,000.
Yes.
And so you can purposefully kind of choose areas that are going to go up in value. And you do that by that belief of I am the person who knows and giving yourself the knowledge to be able to make wise financial decisions as the steward of your own money rather than outsourcing
Yeah.
that and believing that someone knows better for your money.
I love that. So good. Yeah, you touched on like two really, really powerful things that we talk about a lot in manifestation, which is number one, like getting crystal clear on what you want, which would be,
Yeah.
hey, I want to invest in real estate and I want to bring in money through that investment, right?
Yeah.
And like the other one is like the identity shift, right? It's deciding on purpose that you want to become the CEO and you can think about yourself in that way. And also, like you said, it's not as hard as people probably think. Some people probably think, oh, you need to be really good at math and all of these things. So it's probably stepping into that role of like, no, I'm someone who can do this, right?
Yeah. I loved
That's
watching
so
a
good.
recent client. Her dream was to have a place somewhere tropical. We ended up in Hawaii,
Yeah.
but she was like, I want to be somewhere tropical that actually makes me money. And so we literally
Yeah.
spent maybe 4 weeks narrowing down the area and looking at all the specifics in her financial situation. And then within about 2 more weeks, she was under contract, had gone and seen it, made sure that all the numbers worked. And like, she's about to close on a property and it's been a couple months. Like she just blew it out of the water and she was willing to up level. Like she knew this is my growth and I'm willing to just step into it and go for it and know that the numbers work. And she already, like she manifested it so fast. It was so fun. And now she can go to Hawaii and, you know, have the experiences with her kids and her family and herself, just living in that bliss of, I have my dream. She thought it was years off and it was 2 months away.
That's amazing. I love this.
It's so fun.
So Alyssa, what is the process? Are you open to sharing?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, an overview of how do you do this?
Yeah. So I'm gonna bring in a little bit of detail, but this is like, you could just begin and do exactly this. So at the beginning, you want to narrow down to what area you want to invest in. That's the place that I like to begin, because you want to know which area is going to have properties that align with your financial goals. So you want to know, do you want monthly cash flow, which would lean you towards certain markets, maybe more like the Midwest? Or do you want areas that are appreciating, which would be more like the coast, like where you purchased, you noticed how fast that the properties went up, or a combination?
Totally.
And so you're going to narrow down to that specific area and hone in on, this is exactly where I'm investing. Then after you know your area, you're going to start building your team. So this is your realtor, your lender. You're going to understand what types of financing you're willing to take on, right? Or how you're going to leverage your money that you have. Do you want to use the seller to do that? Or do you want to use traditional lending or something else? And then you're going to pick the strategy that you're going to use. So we need to know, do you want to buy commercial or residential, long-term, short-term? And all of those are, and I teach that, like that's something that can easily be learned, but you want to make sure the actual type of deal that you're taking on fits with your lifestyle that you want along the way. So if you want to have a fairly hands-off experience, you may not want to take on a complete remodel on a rehab. So you want to make sure that all aligns. Once you have all that in place and you know your strategy, you're going to start creating the second step, which is your off-market deal funnel. So you don't always, usually in today's interest rates and even before that, if you just go look on MLS and purchase something and you're not going to live there, it's usually not going to cash flow. And so you want to be able to create deals that are coming off market that other people don't know about. And so that's the second step. After that, you want to understand how to analyze a deal. So you want to know what makes a good deal, and when it's a yes for you. So in 5 to 10 minutes, you can know this is a property I'm going to look very deep into or even make an offer on, or I'm not. And that really doesn't take as long as people think. I think people spend a lot of time analyzing deals that don't work and going very into depth versus just gliding right through this process. So once you know that a deal works, you're going to make a no risk offer. And that type of offer allows you to get out during that due diligence period. You're going to know, you ask the seller, and not every realtor will help you do this. So it's important that you can advocate for yourself, but you want to know all the seller's financials when you're purchasing a property. Like, what is its history? What has it done? And you'll, that's really kind of the most important part, I would say, of this whole process is that due diligence phase, because that's where you decide, yes, kind of like we're getting married, like I'm actually buying it, or no, this deal's not for me. And it's okay to make enough offers and get to that due diligence without having all the information. That's why I see people getting hung up, is like, I have to know everything before I even make the offer, versus an offer is like a handshake. It's the beginning of a conversation where we come to the price that works. And then we go from there. So after that, you buy the property, and then you're going to do your optimization. So if that's any type of remodel, or if the rents have been under market, if you were doing an Airbnb, you would get the Airbnb completely set up and ready to go with all the furnishings. That's the optimization part. And then at the end, you just stabilize the property. So this is where you get your property management in, if you're doing Airbnb, you're going to start booking out bookings and making money that way. And if it's in a more long-term play, maybe you're just hiring a regular property management company, maybe you're managing it yourself. All of that is open to you, but that's really the entire process from beginning to end. That's it. Like And it's
That's
the
amazing.
same if you're buying a $200,000 property or a $20 million property, almost none of it is different. So it's about learning the skill so that you can then repeat the process forevermore.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for breaking that down. It's so inspiring. And I feel like you're not only inspiring me, I'm like, I want to buy more properties. But I feel like there's going to be so many listeners that buy houses this year because, or not even homes, but just like,
Yeah.
invest in real estate thanks to you. I mean, this is such
Oh,
a great description of how it's done and how it, like, that's exactly what I went through with my condo. That was exactly the process, 100%. I mean, when we made the deal like sight unseen because we kind of had to in that time, and then we
yeah.
just made sure that we were able to get out of it. We
Yeah.
flew over there while we were, and within the whatever it was,
Due
I can't remember
diligence.
how many
Yeah.
days, 30 days, something like that. Yeah, 60
Yeah.
days, I think, in Hawaii. But yeah, it's not that hard. It's really not. So, yeah, you're inspiring me. I love this.
That's so happy to hear because it's not like you had done it 50 times and then it felt easy.
No
It's like, no,
way.
it felt easy from the beginning.
Yeah. And I really had that crystal clear vision of what I wanted. I had been manifesting it. And like you said, when like I saw that and I was like, this is it. We just knew this was it. It was like, this was in my vision. This is exactly like, and it felt like, because it had fallen through and I was like, oh my gosh, this is even better than what I thought. It was just the perfect scenario. But we did do our due diligence. We also had an amazing real estate agent who helped
Yeah.
us so much, connected us with the lender, and like really understood the short-term rental market. So that was super helpful
That's
too.
really helpful.
But yeah, I just love this.
Jamie, I was curious for you, like, what do you see for you or for your people in going to that 10x vision? Like, how do you see speeding up that manifestation process so that time sort of contracts and you get to your goals sooner?
Yeah, I love that question. I mean, I think it's number one about just like deciding that you can have it, right? Like
Mhm.
deciding that you're someone who can become that, you can have it. This isn't for the other people, quote unquote.
Yes.
And just the willingness to courageously step into a new identity, right? Whether you want to 10x your business, whether you want to create new channels of income, whatever it is, you just are going to have to be willing to stop seeing yourself as your small self and like step into the identity that you choose, right?
Yes.
We get to choose our identity. And I think that's where it all stems from. And I think it's different for everyone, what the 10x vision is.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't tend to like be someone who plans out 10 years, 5 years. I really trust my instincts and my intuition. And I kind of have big picture of what I want,
Mhm.
but I trust that the how will unfold,
Yes. I love that.
And so then it's like, I'll just get these inspired hits. I'll take the inspired action on them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my process.
One thing that's coming up a lot is that view of it's easy. So, like,
Yeah.
I had done one syndication before, but just recently I started looking at I'm looking at a 500 unit property right now. I mean, we're talking like
Yeah.
little bit up to like 35 million really fast.
Yeah.
And really
Yeah.
I realized that I just wasn't thinking as big as I could be. And so I think that's the beauty of having a coach a lot of the time is someone who sees and believes in you, what's possible. And today I was working with a client this morning. She said, I need a bigger vision. I think that's such a good statement to be living into. This is my bigger vision. I'm living into my bigger vision. My bigger vision is easy. I only thought it wasn't possible for me versus it's
Yes.
totally possible for me and everything falls into place. And that's what I'm seeing like with this 160 unit property. Everything's just falling into place like so easily
Yes.
and all just coming together. It's like
Oh my
it's
God.
what
I
was
love
meant
it.
to happen is what it feels like.
What shifted for you? Yeah, I'm so curious how you went from the way that you've invested before to like, hey, maybe I could have a 160 unit property. What shifted in your mind?
I really genuinely think it was that belief. Like, of course I
Mhm.
could have that.
Yeah.
And it happened for me. I'll say when I really experienced that shift the first time was I did $18 million project of
Yeah.
ground up development. So like from raw land to 60 fourplexes and another 16 fourplexes. So 76 fourplex or units of fourplexes
Okay.
total.
Yeah.
But like having created 76 places for people to live, after I did it, I was like, wait, how did that happen? Like it seemed so easy. And a lot of it is having the right people in place. So you don't have to do each of the parts. Like the architect walks you through a whole bunch of that development. Or, the property manager and the construction person is going to tell us these are our numbers and here's what you need to do for this 160 units. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of leaning into just the belief that you are like, I think of it like an orchestra conductor
Yeah.
versus needing to spend every hour learning every single piece of music on every single instrument. Like that would take
Right.
forever. Versus
Yes.
I'm just the visionary who combines and brings together the architect, the construction manager, the person who has the land, and the
Yeah.
people who have the money and puts it all together. Right?
Yes.
That's
Oh my
easy.
gosh. And I imagine that it's probably also, I mean, you tell me, but helpful that you started and it's like you've built, it's like after you initially did that first $1,000 mobile home property, you probably
Yeah.
were like, wait, I can do it, right? So you buy another and you're like, wait, I could do that. Oh, let me go to the next
Yeah.
one, right? So like you kind of build upon that and it's always like, oh, well, what else could I do, right? Where you see that, oh, I
Right.
can learn these things. It's not as hard. And what I love is that we're two women talking about this. And I think that's another thing that it's really great because I mean, I know for me, I think more men talking about this topic than I do
Yeah.
women. So I think it's really powerful to teach women that they can take charge of this too, and they can totally do this.
Absolutely. I'm so passionate about women getting into real estate and just
Yeah.
believing that it's possible for them because women asking the question, how big can I go? How much money do I want to make? Like we
Yeah.
didn't grow up necessarily being asked that question. And
Yeah.
that makes sense from a historical standpoint. Like women couldn't even own property back, not even
Yeah.
that long ago. For sure, less
Yeah.
than 100 years, probably even less than 80.
Yeah.
Women couldn't even own property or have a bank account. And so we have this amazing privilege where women can step into their financial genius. And many of the women who come to me, they say, this is the last frontier of my personal growth. Like
Yeah.
I have grown in so many ways, but money and
Mhm.
specifically investing money
Yep.
after I've
Yep.
made it is kind of like the pinnacle of their
Yeah.
growth. And that's so fun to work with people who are so self-aware so much of the time.
My gosh, I love that. That actually leads me into my final question for you, which maybe this touches on it some, but I'm curious, like through the work that you're doing, what change would you like to see on a bigger scale in this market, in this world? Is there something that you feel really passionate about through this work?
Yeah, it really is women believing that it's possible for them, stepping up and taking the action so that they are masters of money.
Yeah.
For me, I was working with a therapist a few years ago. Real estate has always been easy for me. So that was
Yeah.
never an issue. It was like allowed for me to make money
Yep.
through real estate always, and it felt safe. But when I was working with my therapist, I came up with the belief that like it wasn't possible for me to make 100K. Now I already owned like $5 million of real estate at that
Oh
point.
my God.
But I was like, I can't make 100K. And so it's these limiting beliefs. Like when you understand sometimes the illogical, though we make sense, but these limiting beliefs that we have, when we're able to break through those, we feel so alive, so free. Like we feel like we're growing and our identity shifting
Yeah.
at this just beautiful pace that is
Yes.
healing. And so I see
Yes.
women healing their relationship with finances and
Yeah.
money through investing in real estate and then blessing the lives of other people. I love, one of my coaches used to say, I'm the best person in the world to have $1 million.
Yes.
I just
Right.
think of that. Like, I'm the best person to be someone's landlord.
Y'all take that thought.
Right?
That's so good. Yes. I'm the best person in the world to make $1 million. See how that's true? That's so good. I love that. And I think just going back to what you said, I think so many of us do that where we don't give ourselves permission to own where we've created something with ease, right?
Yes.
So many of us do that. And it's so great when we can have a therapist or a coach or someone call us out. It's almost like
Yes.
such a relief of like, oh, wait, because I had the same thought. And it's like, wait, Jamie, you've created millions of dollars through like real estate. Just you didn't even try, right? Like, so that's when I was like,
Right.
oh, I'm just going to take on this identity that I create money with ease. And once I started taking on that identity, I started making money in my business with more ease, right? Because it was like, oh,
Yes.
well, I can make money through that really easily, but my business is harder. And I just decided, no, 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 it's all easy, right? So, oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank you
And I
so much for sharing all of this. It's been absolutely amazing, so inspiring, and I love your mission so much. So, where can people find you and where can they like learn more from you? Because I know everyone's going to be interested.
Yes. The best place probably is Instagram, Alyssa Holbrook Coach, and I'll spell it Alyssa Holbrook, Holbrook, Coach. And then if they're interested in booking a consult call, because I offer that 1 hour free where we sit down and look at your finances. And I really help you understand, like, this is the type of real estate that you'll probably want to buy that's going to align with your financial goals. And so you get that blueprint, even just from that call. They can go to alyssaholbrook.as.me/consult call. And
We'll have both
so
in the show
that's,
notes too.
yeah, we'll have them in the show notes.
Yep.
But you can just schedule a free hour with me to brainstorm and dream about your real estate vision and create and live into the identity of having money come in. I love the idea that when I wake up in the morning and my feet hit the ground, I've already made money.
My God.
Right? I mean, and you too, same thing. It's just
100%.
coming to you with ease.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Thank you so much for this. And everyone go connect with Alyssa. That was amazing. Yeah. Everyone take her up on that offer because yeah, that's incredible. So thank you so much and talk soon.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for listening. I hope this episode is something that you'll be able to add to your manifestation toolbox to come back to when you need a little extra motivation. If you like what you've heard today and want to take it deeper, you've got to come check out my signature coaching program, the Money Manifestation Movement. It's the place where you'll not only learn manifestation, but you'll begin to live it alongside me and an amazing community of like-minded entrepreneurs doing this work together. Head on over to jamieberman.com to learn more.